Hey there, this is K4A, Knowledge for All, educational videos and tutorials. We are continuing today with making GameMaker Studio 2 dress-up game, and in this video today we are finally starting making some kind of code and some things move and change on the screen. In this video today we are going to code clothing type buttons for our hats, shirts, pants and shoes. So go to GameMaker Studio 2. The only difference from previous video, which was too long and I apologize again for it, is that I have a couple of buttons on the screen which now have some kind of text on them. So we have shirts, pants and shoes buttons now with text on them. Earlier they were just plain blank gray buttons. I have added text on the sprites here, and I have also added groups here for sprites. You don't have to do that. You don't have to follow every step of mine in this tutorial, but for me it's much easier to see what I'm doing here and to have maximum control of my sprites and resources and assets here. Okay, what are we going to do today, and how are you going to code in GameMaker Studio 2? As we said in previous video, sprites are only images. You cannot put code and code sprites in terms of GameMaker workflow. That's why you have to make OBJs. Objects are like some kind of containers where you can put sprites into them, code onto them, sounds and so on. So they are like combo of sprites, code and so on, so like some kind of container for everything you need. So on this obj girl character which we made, we can add code, but do we need code on the girl character? No, we need to code hats, shirts, pants and shoes. So let's open those objects. Click on the obj buttons group and open obj hats. And if you have followed my previous tutorials, you probably heard me saying about the importance of game design document and writing the one for every game you make or plan to make. So let's see how our game design document looks for this game. Yeah, I talked a little bit here about how you can write down your game design document on real world pen and paper, or maybe in some text editing software like Word, Notepad, TextPad, whatever, or maybe in some task management application like Trello, which is online, or you can put the text and drawings into some kind of drawing application like Photoshop or whatever you like. So use whatever you like to make GDD, and don't worry too much because you will change it later for sure. I have made the list what do we need from the artwork. So we need a character which can be girl, boy or custom character, background. We needed buttons for hats, shirts, pants and shoes. We needed buttons for three buttons for hats, sport, teddy bear and Panama hat, 2 shirts or more, dinosaur, pink and so on, 2 pants, blue and pink, and 3 kind of shoes, green, brown boots and pink flying shoes. And all of that artwork we imported already in our resources folder here in GameMaker, and we did that in previous video and it took us some time, but you have to do it like it or not for every game of yours. And yeah, I will probably skip that part on later tutorials, but I had to do it for one tutorial, at least the first one, and this is the first one for GameMaker. So maybe I will make a couple of short tutorials like how to import sprite, how to change sprite and so on in GameMaker, just to have those like separate tutorials. And then for later tutorials I will probably not make video of myself importing the sprites. You should be able to do it. Once you do it one time, then you should be able to do it for every next game. It's the same process. The only difference is that the sprites will be different and naming them will be different. Simple as that. Okay, so we have that artwork from the scratch. We have imported that, so that one is finished. So let's go now to code. What do we have to code? By analyzing the game in Scratch, we have come to conclusion that we don't have to code the character or background, so that's cool with us. But what do we need to code? We need to code 3 buttons. 4 buttons: for hats, for shirts, for pants, and for shoes. So let's start with the first one, and that is the button for hats. That is this button here. Oops. This button here. We're going to code that one now. Okay, I'm going into workspace and I'm minimizing the sprites and clicking on OBJ button heads to open that one. Okay, let me go to game design document to see what I need to code. I need that button to show 3 hats when it's clicked, to play the pop-up sound, and to hide other clothing. Okay, first of all, I see that I have a problem here. I need a pop-up sound. I forgot to do it in last video. So let's do that first. Go to resources, go to sounds, right click, create sound, and then click on those 3 dots here which says choose sound file, and navigate to the folder where your sounds are. In my case, I will use the pop sounds from the Scratch again, which was by default in Scratch, used in Scratch games, so I will use that one. It's WAV sound. You can also use MP3, OGG, and so on. So let's see how that sounds. Yeah, cool. I like that one, and don't worry about these 4 options here. So far so good. We don't need to change anything. That this is a very simple game. Just rename this sound into sound pop. I will use again naming convention from GameMaker and call it SND underscore pop, and that's what I need here. Cool. Now let me code this button. Okay, how are you going to code the object in GameMaker Studio 2? To code the object in GameMaker Studio 2, and yeah, I have forgot to tell you that this tutorial today will be using, I will write down that in YouTube description. This tutorial today will be using drag and drop system. I told that before, but I haven't used it here on my thumbnail image because that's very, very important. So we're using drag and drop DnD style of coding, and that means we're going to use some kind of visual blocks of code in GameMaker. That is because we want to show that for beginner and intermediate users, so they can switch from Scratch or similar visual coding software to GameMaker, but also to compare those two. And the third reason is that I want to learn that a little bit myself, because I'm not using that. I'm using GML, which is a game programming language of GameMaker Studio 2, but that GameMaker Studio language is more powerful than drag and drop system, but for beginners probably it's easier to use drag and drop visual coding. Okay, so you code everything in GameMaker Studio by adding some kind of event on objects. What are events? You can think of events like some kind of actions, interactions, which will occur on object when something happens. For example, when you press a button, do this. When you click mouse, do that. When the object touches another object, do that, and so on. So it's like some kind of action, something is happening, something is interacting. So object itself is not interactive, it will become interactive only when you add some kind of event. Object itself is like some kind of character not moving, but when you add event it becomes live, simple as that. So there are lots of those events. When you click on add event, you can see there are a ton of those. We're not going to explain them one by one. We will do that in later videos and different tutorials, but for now on we will use only a couple of those, and the only events which we need for this game, so as simple as possible. In this game here, what do I need to code? I have write down that in my game design document, but it isn't very clear. It should be much clearer, and I should write down the whole sentence, but I was lazy and I probably explained that in a Scratch tutorial, but I have to repeat it today. I want to do what here? I want to click on this head button with my mouse, and then I want that button to play the pop-up sound, to show me 3 heads, and to make other clothing, other buttons disappear. So again, I need 3 kind of events here. I need 3 kind of actions here. Pop-up sound the first, show me 3 heads the second, and hide the other buttons. So let's start step by step. I will try to approach every problem here, not only in GameMaker Studio tutorials, but in other tutorials, by dividing it into smaller problems. So that way you will progress and become much more powerful game developer yourself, and you will understand how game development, IT industry, and real life works, in terms of whenever you have some kind of problem which sounds impossible for you to solve or too big, just divide it on a couple of smaller and then solve those. If you cannot solve those, then divide those into smaller, and so on until you can solve some of them, and then you will progress and so on. Simple as that. It maybe sounds stupid and too easy, but that will help you on the long run, and that will help you understand how games are made. So in my problem here, there are 3 actions that I need to code, but the first one, which will play all of them, is when the button is clicked. So when the button head is clicked, let me try to find that one in GameMaker. I need something which says when the button is clicked, when the mouse is clicked. So I am just hovering over those events, and there are a lot of them. I can see there are some of 4 keyboard. I don't need them. Mouse, yes, I probably need mouse because I need to click with my mouse icon on the button. So let me see. I have left down, left pressed, left released. So you are probably confused here with which one to choose. The right one should be left pressed or left released, but I will click on left pressed, but I have to explain now why I did it, how to explain it. I will use some other object. Like for example, yeah, we can use this sprite green box which I have made earlier, just to show you how you can simply make simple sprites in GameMaker Studio. But because that one is a sprite, if I try to drag it on the screen, I will get warning, it's not possible to drag sprites onto the instances layer where you need only objects. So okay, that's I can solve that easily. I will make a new object. So right click on objects folder, create object, call it green, button green, and this is what we are going to use to show the difference between those three options in a mouse event. Okay, so I want to see what is the difference between this left down, left pressed and left released. I will choose first left down, and I have new window open here which says left down. So okay, I have created the event left button for mouse down, and on the right side you can see there are some kind of icons like in Scratch or some visual coding applications. There are some kind of nice small icons which you can click and drag, and that's how you code in GameMaker Studio, drag and drop. And what do I want to do here? What do I want to show you here? I want, for example, to do this. I want to first I will drag this new button green here. No, first I have to add sprite. I have to add sprite green, then I will add that new button green onto screen. Never mind where specific, it doesn't matter. So I want to do what? I want to click on this button and to see what is the difference when I say the GameMaker to use left pressed, left released and left down. We will start with left down. So what do I want to do here? When I press this green button here, make somewhere on the screen randomly one green button like this. That's what I want to do here. So how to do it? There is a group called instances that should be first, second, third, fourth from the top. It says instances, and try to find the one with the light bulb which says create instance. Click and drag it from the right to the left, and this code here, this block of code creates the instance on the screen. We learned before that all of those objects which we made here earlier, they are like cookie cutters, like shapes for cookie cutters, and when you use a cookie cutter and make a cookie is called instance. So cookie cutter is object, but cookies are instances. So with one object, with one cookie cutter, you can make 1000, 1 billion, as much as you want instances, as much as you want cookies. So that's what we are going to do here with create instance. We are going to create a cookie from cookie cutter. So which cookie cutter are we going to use here? I need to make a green button, so I will use a button green object as cookie cutter. And where do I want to make it? They gave us option to type X and Y on the screen, so I can type it like some kind of number here, 120 for X, and for Y, for example, 60, and that will work. That will make the instance of this green object, the green button, on the X 120 and Y 60. But do I want that? I want no, I want the green button to be somewhere on the screen randomly. So how to do it? Let's try to find that block of code which says randomly random or something like that. And here it is. It's below the files and types, and above the cameras and rooms. It says random, and it's like an icon with dice, because dice is mostly used as a sample to show people how random works, because when you throw dice you don't know which on which side it will fall and which number it will show up. So it can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. It's random. It's by luck. You don't know which number will show up. So we will use that for our game. But how? Let me see how to use it. I need this get random number, and yeah, the resolution is not very good, but that's the way. Okay, so what this get random number shows me here, this block of code in GameMaker Studio drag and drop. It says I can put one number as minimum and one number as maximum. So for example, if I wanted to make a dice random dice game, random dice game object, I will use minimum as 1, because 1 is the smallest number which I can get on the dice, and I will use which number? 6, because the 6 is the biggest number on the dice. But are we making the dice game here? No, we're making the show me the green button somewhere on the screen, and screen is how big. I can see here, and I defined that earlier, that screen is 480 on the width and 360 on the height. So I will use maybe 0 and 480, because that 0 is where my scene, where my background starts on the GameMaker, and 480 is where it ends. That's how long is this background on the screen. So I will use that and see if it works, and I will put that in my I have here some kind of target field which says variables. So variables are like containers where you put your information, some numbers and so on. So I will call this variable expos, which means exposition, and you don't have to follow me coding this or try to understand. Don't worry, this is just try to concentrate when I make it on the final result to understand the difference between those three cases for mouse click. And this is for my exposition. I need one more get random number, but this time for y position. So I will change variable into y position, and I will say pick y position from what? From 0 here to 360 on the top. And you can even see here in my left corner how those coordinates change. So the bottom is 360 and the top is 0 for y. So this way I have defined two variables, one x position for my width and one y position from my height, and they are in limits of my background, of my scene. Okay, so I have those two numbers, and I will use those two numbers here. I will use them for creating instance where created on x position and y position. And I have one more thing I think I have to do. Yeah, I have a randomize button here. What is randomize button? Randomize button is some kind of condition in GameMaker and different game engines too, which makes your random dice, random number fair. It's like a shuffle. When you shuffle cards to make them different than from the last play. So every time you throw dice, it should be fair. It shouldn't be showing the same result on and on. And this is the solution for that. That's like some kind of snippet of code, like some small code which GameMaker programmers made, and that's also used in other game engines, and it will make your game randomizable, which it says on the block of code, randomized, to be fair. Okay, so I have randomized my dice. I have used get random number between 0 and 480, and I have used another one for 100 and 360, and I have added those values into obj button green create instance. So when I click now on obj button green, somewhere on the screen I should get one green button created. So let's see if that works. Click on the play, run F5. I maybe forget something to code, but maybe not. Let's see what will happen. We will see now how left pressed works. So I will do it here to see it more clearly. So I am now going to press this green button and see what happens. And this is crazy. I have clicked only once and this whole screen was flooded in a few seconds in green squares. Let me do it again to see, maybe it was some kind of a bug, but I don't think so. This works like it's supposed to. So I'm clicking only once and the green squares are made in thousands in a second. So why did I show you that, and what did we learn here? I show that to you only because I wanted to show you how this left down works. So this left down works that you click once and it will work and work and work endlessly as long as you are holding the button. So that left down means as long as you're holding the button, something will be done in the background, some action you decide to encode and decide your obj does. And is that something which we need for our game? I don't think so. I don't want to click on this button heads and have thousands of heads shown up on my screen. I want only one. So how to do it? Let's try with other stuff, with other mouse click. So first one was left down, the second one was left pressed. So I need to code everything like from here. I don't know if I can copy the whole, no. Copy the whole event would be, yeah, I don't need event, I need just, yeah, I will click on those and copy and paste them. I think there must be some kind of smarter solution, but this will work fast because there is not much into it. So I'm now copying the code which I made for left down, and I'm going to use it on left pressed, just to show you that with the same code I will have different result. Simple as that, and it's already finished. So randomize, get random, and create instance. Cool. So I will now delete the left down. I definitely don't need left down. So right click on it, delete event. And now let me try the same game, but this time with left pressed instead of left down. So now I should be able to have one button only on the screen when I click once. So I will click once and yeah, I have one. So I release now and click again, it will show up again. And you see, this is more pleasant to me and more likely something I will use. So I have to click once and I get one object on the screen. Simple as that, randomly positioned. So that's what I'm going to use here. Let me go to workspace. And the whole idea of this probably took me 20 minutes or so to make, was to show you the difference between left mouse, left down, left pressed, and left released. Left released works same as left pressed, only it will show up obj green button when you release your click. So left pressed will show up one and one only object when you press it, left released one and one only when you release it, and left down will create as many objects as possible as long as you are holding it down. So in my case, for my game, I will use left press because it creates only one instance of object. Simple as that. I will close this object here and I will click on my game in my room, my game scene. I will select this green button and delete it. So I'm deleting now only the instance from my scene, from my game. I'm not deleting the object which I made here in objects, so don't worry, it's always here until you right click and delete it. But if I add it here like this, drag and add, and then right click or just press delete on keyboard and delete it, it will stay here in objects. Don't worry, don't be afraid to delete it from the scene. Okay, now let's finally go to obj button heads and try to code something. Okay, so we need left press, we understood that. Let's try to see what do we need coded. Let's go to game design document. We need to play a pop-up sound. Let's try to find code for that. Sounds. Here it is, it's called audio, play audio. I think that one will work. And you have a button which says sound none. Instead of none, we need sound pop. Let's try to find it. Here it is, sound pop. Let's go to our game to try to play it to see if it works. Try to click now on the heads button. It works. Great, simple as that. So all we needed to do here is to drag this play audio block of code and pick a sound for it, and that's how you code sound to play in GameMaker Studio, drag and drop. That's one thing we had to do. Play pop-up sound. The second one is show three heads. So I need to show heads on my screen. Heads are what? Heads will be button heads 1, button heads 2, and button heads 3. And those are what? Those are objects. We have obj button head 1, obj button head 2, and obj button head 3. But when we have objects on the screen, we said earlier they are what? They are instances. So what do I need to find out? I need to find out button which says create instance, and we use it already in previous sample with green button. So the same, if we're going to use the same thing again here. So create instance. Which instance do I need to create? Obj buttons. I need to resize this so this will be bigger so you can see it. What do I want to show? This is driving me crazy, but I don't know the better solution for this. I need which one? obj button head. Obj button head 1. And where do I need it on the screen? This is a kind of tricky. It's not really tricky, but it's kind of boring and maybe dumb for some of you. But if you are working on some kind of professional game or in professional game studio, then all of those things which I'm going to talk about now will be defined, and you will get them in your design document. Like for example, instead of button show three heads here, it will be written here show obj button head 1 on position x so and so, y so and so, obj button 2 on position x, y so and so, and so on. So you will get strictly defined positions, strictly defined sprites, and so on. So you will know what to do and how to do it. But in our case, because this is a indie game and lots of improvisation here, we are going to click on this obj button head 1 and drag it on the screen, and you yourself try to find some position on the screen where do you want your obj button head to show up. You can say, okay, I want it here, or I want it here or here. I don't know, it's your game, you pick up or here, and so on. And when you decide, you click 2 times on that obj, a new window will open, and you zoom to, no, it doesn't work, you zoom to those and read those x and y values and write them down on some paper because you will need them. Then after you do it, click and delete this object, because this object will be created in the runtime by pressing this head button. We don't need it now on the screen, so go back to workspace and then type in create instance x and y. Type those numbers. In my case, those will be 64 and 55, and you can minimize that by pressing this arrow here. So that was instance for obj head 1, but what do I need to make? I need to make 3 heads: obj button head 1, head 2, and head 3. So let's do it, and do it in the same manner. Create instance. Which instance? Obj button heads. Yeah, I hate when it happens, but it happens every time. Obj button heads, button head 2, teddy bear head. Then try to find out on which position you need it. I will use 64 and 150. Minimize that one and add the last one. Create instance. Which instance? Obj button head. Which button head? Third one. Where to make it? Make it on 64 and 240. And let's try to see if that works for our game. You don't have to test it every time, but I like to do it every time I code something complex or big or something like that, to see changes on the screen, especially where those games are small like this and I can see the changes fast. So when I press the heads button now, I should hear the pop-up sound and see those 3 heads on the screen. Yeah, it works. Cool. Simple as that. So what are we making here? We said just make instances of those 3 objects, and that's what GameMaker did. Simple as that. But the problem now is here, they are staying forever on the screen. So when they are going to disappear, when I click on shirts or pants or shoes, but we have to code that. We haven't coded that. So let's try at least one more button here. Click on obj button shirts to open it. And what do I have to do? I have to say, or I can look at my game design document too. When I click on button shirts, I want to do what? I want to play the pop-up sound, so same as for the previous button. Show 2 shirts and hide other clothing. So when first I need to add event. Which event? Left mouse button pressed. And then what? I need to add play audio. Do you have to go and scroll all the way down? You don't have to. You have this recently used folder menu which shows your recently used code, and say I need you to play this audio. Which one? Play pop sound. Cool. What else? I need you to show 2 instances. Which one? Button shirts. Yeah, I'm coding shirts. I need 3 buttons. Why did I? Because this is old. Yeah, this is old game design document. Never mind, we need 3 shirts. So obj button shirt 1, obj button shirt 2, and obj button shirt 3. So where do I want them created? You find your place in game space which you like the most. I will use the one which I found working for me, and that is 6455 for first one, 64 140 for second one, and 64, 230 for the third one. So let's go to our game to see if that works. Now when I press on heads button I should see 3 heads, and when I press on shirts button I should see 3 shirts. I guess I will have a problem, which will be that both of those groups of clothing buttons will be on the screen at the same time, and I don't want that, but we will solve that in a second. Yeah, it is working, but I have a problem that those buttons are not disappearing, so let me code that one, and I have to change this instance 3 into button shirts 3. It was my fault here. Okay, so what do I want to add here? I want to code here for the first button heads. I have coded this pop-up sound, that works, and I have coded this show me 3 heads, that works. So what is left? The final thing to code here is hide other clothing buttons. So which are other clothing buttons? They could be shirts clothing buttons, which we just saw a few seconds ago. They could be pants, and they could be shoes. So we have to code all of those cases. If the pants is clicked and we have pants on the screen, and then I click heads, that means heads, show heads buttons and hide pants. If the shoes are clicked, I see shoes buttons, and then if I click on heads, I'm saying to GameMaker, show me the heads button, hide the shoes button. Same for the shirts. Show me the heads button, hide the shirts button. Simple as that, but it's kind of boring because we have to think about all the cases. So how many cases I will have here? When I show the heads, I need to hide how many shirts? 3 shirts, 2 pants, and 3 shoes. So it's 3 plus 2 plus 3, it's 8. I will need to delete 8 kind of instances. So let me try to find delete instance. There is a destroy instance, so it's probably that one. And you can see how when I click on that block, it shows up when I drag it at the end. But because sometimes you won't need your action, some kind of your action at the end. You want it, for example, to be the first one. You just click and drag it at the top, or to be second, or to be third, and so on. I need my button to play the sound first, and then to destroy other instance, and then to create instance of the heads. Yeah, I like that flow. I think it will work. So let's try to code this destroy instance. So which instance I want to destroy here? I want to destroy shirts, so let me try to find those. Destroy button shirts. Which one? First one. Is that the only one? No. I need to destroy instance. Which one? Button shirts. Second one. And one more. Button shirts. Third one. So this was for the heads, and when I click on the shirts, what do I need destroyed when I click on the shirts? When I click on the shirts, I want to destroy, for example, the heads to show my shirts only. Okay, so let's try to code that one. One head, second head, third head. So destroy instance of what? Of obj button head 1. Destroy instance of what? Obj button head 2. Destroy instance of what? Obj button head 3. Simple as that. Let me try if that works. So now when I click on heads button, heads should be on the screen. That was working as earlier also, but now when I click on the shirts button, first GameMaker should read this destroy head 1, head 2, head 3, and show me shirt 1, shirt 2, shirt 3. Let me see if that works. Destroy heads and show the shirts. Yeah, it works. And now when I click on heads, what will happen? When I click on heads, GameMaker will read this. Play pop-up sound. Destroy, then what? Destroy shirt 1, shirt 2, shirt 3. Show head 1, show head 2, show head 3. And it works. Simple as that. Very, very easy to code, but very effective on the screen. Those shirts are not coded yet. Those heads are not coded yet. They are just instances of the objects, but so far so good. What else do we have to code here? I have to code pants, shoes, and destroying all those two. So let's try to do it and see. I started I think in 5:15, so it's like already 40 minutes. Sorry, but I cannot go faster than this to explain all of that stuff. So, and you can stop here if you understood the whole process, but I'm going to code it anyway. I need to show obj button shoes and obj button pants. So I will try to do it now faster without so much explaining, so it will be faster. Okay, I want to code what? I want to code the shoes button to react when I click left mouse pressed on it. Cool, it worked. And what do I want to code it? I want to play the sound. Which sound? Sound pop. And what else do I want to make on it? I want to destroy. I will drag how many instances I said? I think 8. 3, 2, 8. 3 hats, 3 shirts, and 3 shoes, so it's 9. For pants, it's actually 9 instances, so we have to destroy 9 instances. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I will explain, this is maybe not the simplest and the smartest solution, but I think for the beginners this is the solution which will make most sense. But later we will explain why some of these techniques are maybe not the best for you on the long term, and if you want to become better programmer. But so far so good. But why am I using destroy 9 instances here? Because I want to cover every possible scenario. I have 3 hats plus 3 shirts, that's 6, and plus 3 shoes, that's 9. So 9 instances. I will now pick them, destroy button head 1, button head 2, button head 3, shirt 1, shirt 2, shirt 3, and shoes 1, shoes 2, and shoes 3. So I'm trying to cover all the possible scenarios here. So if hats are open and I click on pants, then delete hats. If shirts are open and I click on pants, delete shirts. And if shoes are open and I click on pants, delete shoes. So those are 9 possible scenarios. I have covered them, all of them here. But maybe it doesn't make sense to you in terms of, okay, if only hats are open, why I'm trying to destroy every other shirt and shoes? They are not visible. That's the way you do it sometimes. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't make much sense, and as I said, some of those techniques you can improve later, but so far so good. We have to cover every possible scenario, and that's what we are doing here. So I have destroyed some objects and instances I don't like. Now I have to create some I do like. And what do I like here? What do I need here? Sorry, I need to show pants when I click on pants button. Oh no, this is shoes button. So my bad. Okay, no problem. Create instance, and where are the pants? Here. So I have opened the shoes, my bad. Okay, when I click on obj button shoes, I need to delete hats, shirts, and pants. So hat 1, 2, 3, shirt 1, 2, 3, and instead of shoes I need to delete pants 1 and 2, and I will delete this one, right click, delete. So when I click on shoes, I want to show up what play sound pop, delete hat 1 2 3, delete shirt 1 2 3, delete pants 1 and 2, and create what? Create shoes 1, create shoes 2, and create shoes 3. And where do I want to create them? Again, that depends on your game and your preferences. For my game, I have written that down already. I will use 384 for first and 79 for the second shoe. I will use 384 and 150, and for the third shoes 384 and 224. Simple as that. So I think this will work. Let me zoom out. So this is the code for the shoes. Let's do that for the pants. So I want to code pants to do what? When I left mouse click on them, I want them to play the sound. Which sound? Pop sound. I want them to delete 9 instances. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and I want them to create 2 instances. Which one? Pants 1 and pants 2. But let me first destroy instance. Which one do I want to destroy? Button head 1, button head 2, and button head 3. Shirt 1, shirt 2, and shirt 3, and shoes 1, shoes 2, and shoes 3. What do I want to create? I want to create pants 1 and pants 2. And where do I want to create them? For my game, I came up with 384 and 64 for the first pant, and 384 and 200 for the pink pants. So let's zoom out and close this one. So we have coded all possible solutions for pants and shoes, but we have to do that for shirts and hats also. So shirts, what do we have here? Only hats. Hide 3 hats, but I have to hide 2 pants and 3 shoes, so 5 more. 2 pants and 3 shoes. So delete 2 pants, destroy instance, and same for the shoes, and same for the shoes second time, and same for the shoes third time. I think this is okay, and I will drag those below. So far so good. Zoom out. Close this one, and last but not the least, the hats. So I'm destroying the shirts. I need to destroy pants and shoes, so 5 more. So 5 more delete instances. 1 destroy instances, sorry. I need to destroy 2 pants, buttons, and 3 shoes buttons. And I want to drag those below just to have clear view of it. So I think it will work. Let me try now our game and see if this works. And that's it. think it's about 1 hour of me making this video, but again, I will show you just few tips to make this faster, but you shouldn't aim for speed as much when you're a beginner, but more to make all things clear and to understand what you are doing. So what we were doing here was we have coded every of those 4 buttons to play pop-up sound, to show some objects, that means the instances of the objects, and to destroy other instances of the objects. So when I click on heads button, I will hear the pop-up sound and see 3 heads, and when I click on shirts, I will see 3 shirts, but I will also delete 3 heads, and I can do that as many times as needed. It works great. Same with pants, same with shoes. Oops, shoes is not working for some reason, so we have a problem here, probably because we were dragging those, but we have to solve that now. Back to our workspace. So what did we set? Pants and shoes. So obj button pants and shoes, pants and shoes. Okay, so pants, destroy obj button head 1 2 3. Why isn't that working? Yeah. To be honest, I'm not sure here. VG button, sure. Sometimes you have to make those just again from the scratch, so I will try to do that again. Destroy obj button pants. Yeah, maybe I was using maybe I was using obj. Yeah, my bad. I was using obj pants instead of obj button pants. You see how easy it's to make a mistake even when you try to name your objects in some sane manner. So some of those will work now, but probably not all. I was just picking some different objects. Instead of obj button pants, I have picked obj button pants. But now they are not showing up at all. So obj button pants, create obj button pants. Yeah, create. Now I will delete those and delete it, make it from scratch, because it's obviously bugged on so many levels. So what do I want to create here? I'm into pants, obj button pants. So I want to create button pants 1 and button pants 2. Where do I want to create those? On 384 times 64 and 384 times 200. This should work now, but let me check this one. Button, cool. And button shoes, obj button shoes, let me check that one. That one was bugging also. So button, yeah, destroy. I have a problem here. Destroy obj button pants 1. And delete this one, which is buggy. and create, yeah, I haven't picked any here. So what do I need to create? Shoes. Button shoes 1. Not sure if this will work. If not, I will again create it from scratch, no big deal. But that's the way it goes. I don't have much experience with GameMaker drag and drop, but I think it will work. I have made just stupid kind of mistake just picking the different objects, but it happens from time to time. So pants 2 are making a problem, and shoes 3. That's still a problem for us. So obj button pants, let me see. Obj button pants, yeah, obj pants. Obj button pants instead of obj pants. And now some progress will be made. Shoes are still not working, so we have to fix shoes, and that's it. So far so good. Obj button shoes, let me see with those. Obj button shoes, why they're not showing up on the screen? I have no idea, so I will delete them and make them from the scratch, because that will probably do the work. So create instance, create instance, create instance. What? Obj button shoes 3 on 384 times 224. Obj button shows 2, where on 384 times 150, and obj button shows 1 on 384 times 79. Sometimes you have to delete those and code them again. I don't know if it's a bug or something I do wrong. Yeah, so they work as supposed to finally. So a little bit embarrassing, but that's how game development is. So I made a mistake here with pants. I coded obj. I said create the instance of obj pants instead of create the instance of obj button pants. I was confused because I'm using the same graphic art, the same artwork for both of those. For both of those objs, the graphic art is the same. It's the same sprite, so I get confused with that. And for the shoes, to be honest, I have no idea what was wrong. You have saw me what I just did. I had the same code as this, I think, a few moments ago, and it didn't work. So I deleted the instance, like clicking on this, or click and right click and delete, and then created the same with the same code, and it works. Sometimes it's like that in all game engines, more or less. So be aware of that, just to don't get too frustrated or confused. Make a pause or try to delete the code and type it again. But so far so good. We have coded all the buttons here, and how we did it. We did it by drag and drop code blocks in GameMaker Studio. We have coded all those buttons in the same manner. So we used event. First of all, you have to add event. In our case, it was left pressed mouse button Then we said, okay, what do we need to code? I have looked on my game design document. If you don't have one, just think about it, what do I have to code, and then try to solve that problem by dividing it into smaller and smaller problems and then coding one by one. In our case, it was like I need to play a pop-up sound, so that was the first problem. The second problem was I need to create something on the screen, some images, some objects, and that was create instance problem. And I have to delete all the buttons, all the images, all the objects, all the instances I don't need, and that was destroy the instance problem. So 3 problems we had here, we solved all of them, and that was same for every of those 4 buttons. In next video we are going to try to code those hats and the buttons and shirts buttons and pants button and shoes button. So when I click on those heads on the screen, I want them to show up on the girl character on the right. Same with the shirts, same with the pants, same with the shoes. For some of you maybe that's already easy to do, because you should be able to understand it from what we just did in a GameMaker Studio. For some of you who isn't, wait for the next tutorial. That's it for this video. Sorry for how long this video was, but I guess it will get better with every next one. Thanks for watching, and I hope I will see you next one. Bye for now.